A wise man once said, "We keep spending most of our lives living in a gangster's paradise." Let's start the show. What's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday night. Here it is time for the tagline. We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams. You're still muted.
Look, sometimes this thing unmutes me and sometimes it doesn't as soon as the video is done playing. I don't understand. It's not consistent. I don't get it. I'm Chris Adams. Welcome to the show.
It's a hell of a name right there. Oh, good Lord. Yes, Wednesday night. It is time to talk about some movie news. Before this gets started, still kind of reacting to the fact that right before we went live, I read that Coolio has passed away. So one of the top songs, if not in some people might say the top pop song from a movie soundtrack of the entire 90s.
Like, I was going to say the Kenan and Kel theme.
Well, the Kenan and Kel also. I mean, obviously, Gangsta's Paradise was way more popular, but Kenan and Kel, yeah, for those who grew up in the 90s, that was also a very traditional theme.
Oh, here it goes.
Gangsta's Paradise was probably like the movie song for the entire 90s. I mean, there's a couple others, like I Don't Want to Miss a Thing for Armageddon and whatnot, but yeah. For me personally, yeah, I know we can't sing it, copyright, but for me personally, I loved Gangsta's Paradise and Amish Paradise too for the Weird Al cover. But unfortunately, it was just announced that Coolio has passed away, age 59. This was just announced, so we don't have a cause of death or anything, which is strange because he was just on Jimmy Kimmel's belly flop contest episode.
Like literally like last week.
Was that like last week?
Something like that. It's like either last week or the week before it.
Yeah. So our thoughts go out to Coolio's family. I can't believe that. That's insane. Anyways, moving on with the show. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of what was it? Action Industries. Ben and Guy were live streaming when Kobe passed away.
It's a little bit different. It's kind of
I think they had more of a connection alike of Kobe than here. I'm just referencing it because we're a news talking about movie news, so I'm referencing his movies. But I mean, I liked a lot of his songs as well. So rolling with the homies from Clueless, 1, 2, 3, 4, something new.
He's an iconic 90s artist.
Yeah. Moving on. Guys, we're on YouTube. You know the YouTube things, especially if you heard my stream last night. Click the like, hit comment down below. If you're watching on a replay, hit the subscribe button. Also,
nerd, stop it.
Oh,
give me your hand. Give me your hand. No, sir.
Bad nerd. Don't do that again.
Go sit in the corner and think about what you did.
God
dang, dude.
We do honor people, but I mean, sometimes humor is how you deal with things, which is fine. And dark humor. Yeah.
Ooh, I need some water.
Yeah. Anyways, if you have any questions, comments, or you want to complain about nerds, comments in our chat, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. That's a good way to get our attention on that. Nerd, if you would like to apologize, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. Apologize. I was watching someone react to that South Park episode the other day. That's funny.
Okay, no, we're starting this one over. Off we go. One more time. Roll it back.
Here we go. Anyways, yeah, if y'all want to comment anything, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics is a good place to do it.
If you want to roast us for the beginning of this video, please feel free to attach a $sign to it, but roast away if you do.
Yeah. Also, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you want to support us, and if you have the means.
I don't understand why you would, but go for it.
Patreon.com/cinefanatics. Hop on the tier that is good for you. We will be announcing movie watch along and trivia hangouts for the month of October coming up pretty soon. So stay tuned. We just did the trivia hangout the other night. So we have another one of those coming around the bend, another month coming. So I like how Nerd just switched to his other YouTube profile. Like, I'm sorry, I'll just switch to the other profile. It's me. It's a completely different person. It's not the same Commentatoring Nerd that we had before.
I don't know who that Commentating Nerdvana guy was, but man,
he was kind of an ass with that dark humor. But
yeah,
I'm glad we got Commentating Nerd here because he's a much better person. So
yeah,
thanks, Nerd. Upcoming shows. The only thing upcoming that we really have planned right now, you've heard me announce it the past couple of weeks, and still coming up Friday, October 7th, it is going to be the marquee Tears for Fears. We are doing the Child's Play series Friday, October 7th, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. The official guests will be announced next week, so stay tuned for that. Also, I think we might announce what the other, next week I'll announce what the other two marquees. There's going to be 3 marquees in October. I'll announce what the other 2 are because I don't think I've done that publicly yet. If you're on our Patreon, if you're on our Discord, you know what the other 2 are.
Because there's a lot of movies that a lot of people probably haven't seen on those marquees that they'll have to catch up on.
Yeah, the second one for the month, I'm not expecting. If you're a part of our Discord, you see it. If you are into horror movies, please feel free to go watch those and catch up. I'm kind of expecting that one. That particular marquee episode is going to be, would you like recommendations for little known horror movies, good classic cult favorites that people true horror files love? This is going to be the marquee to watch because you're going to get some good recommendations. So
the answer to this question is absolutely not. I'm taking the month off of marquees. You're not going to see my face unless I just randomly pop in for a joke or something. But for the most part, no, I'm not going to be a part of these marquees.
I would say for channel Singularity, you should at least watch the first Child's Play. It's a fun movie. I know you're looking at the whole killer doll thing, but it is a fun movie to watch just because that was such a great concept that they did with that. So,
hey, guess what? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, that second one. So, okay. So since Nerd is saying it, we'll go ahead and say the second one of the month, it is going to have Lego joining us on that one. So Lego is a super horror expert. So if you want to know the direction we're going with that one, Chris should not see Smile as far as everything I've heard so far. I will be seeing Smile tomorrow night. I've already got my tickets and I'm ready to go. Yeah, not quite. Yeah. Yeah, the first movie, there's no gore in the first movie at all. In the first Child's Play movie.
I'm going to do that thing that you saw in the trailer where the woman knocked on the window and her head went... Brr.
Dude, that was so cool. That was probably one of my favorite parts of that trailer just because that was the one thing nobody was expecting. You're expecting a jump scare. But then when the person gets right up there next to the car window, you're like, okay, so no jump scare. And then her head dangles down that was so great.
The human body physically can't do that. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, that movie, this has been a great year for horror movies. Almost, I have not heard, I think probably the worst review horror movie I've heard of so far was Bodies. And even then I hear most people are like, yep, it was pretty decent. It wasn't the greatest, but it was still decent. It is allowed to be within the year with all the other horror movies we've gotten so far. X, Black Phone, Barbarian.
From what I heard, Bodies is one I can actually watch.
Bodies sounds more like it's gonna be. Can we call it Bodies Cube? Just because that's gonna be annoying to keep saying bodies all the time. Bodies Cube sounds like
Bodies Trace.
Yeah. It sounds like it's more of a whodunit type of movie.
Yeah, it's like a mystery comedy thriller.
I have a feeling there's probably still going to be some stuff in there you probably won't like. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, so I will watch it. But Nerd, how bad is it in the gore part? Oh, okay. So Chris could watch it. Okay.
Yeah, if I can watch, if it's like Get Out or Us, if it's on that level, then obviously I can. I still don't know if I will. It's just a general interest or disinterest in the movie, but
it's got a good cast because it's got Pete Davidson is in it. What's his face? Ronan.
Yeah.
Ronan the Accuser from Guardians.
Lee Pace.
And isn't Maria Bakalova in that also?
Mm-hmm. And Shiva Baby, whatever her name is.
That stupid light behind me does not want to work. It went out in the middle of us live streaming last Wednesday, and it was like flickering all last night during my stream. So whatever.
I like the random glow on the wall, though. I think that looks cool.
The blue?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that light. I want another one of those lights. So behind the scenes, the light I have here is the kind of light that I saw Sean Chandler using in his videos. I was like, I like how he has those lights set up. So I was like, I'm going to go get one.
Jonathan Chandler. We know him. He's been on this show.
Jonathan Chandler. Yeah. I'll mention him again with a news story later on here, but
ooh.
Lola, shut up. I've already given you treats. Anyways, moving on. Personal stuff. Again, most of our personal stuff, we're going to start moving, for the most part, to our own like channel stuff. So like Chris does his Twitch streams, Sunday through Tuesday?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday right now.
Yeah, and then I'm doing the my YouTube stream pretty much whenever I feel like it, usually late at night. Did one last night. Last night was a lot of fun because I didn't actually play any games. I was just like talking about YouTube stuff and how to be like all the stuff with like Ned from Try Guys, and like, why would you be a public person and screw up like that? So a lot of good conversation on that, I feel like. Of course, I was the only one on the stream, so of course I feel that way. Anyways, yeah, so check those out. I guess channel links are down in the description. I think I fixed mine. I was trying to fix mine because I know it was broken last week. Taking a look, and it may still be broken, it looks like. Oh, no, it looks like it works. Okay, yeah, so testing it live on stream. Yeah.
We're doing it live.
So yeah, channel links down below in the description so you can follow us at our individual channels as well. Let's get into some movies watched. This one should be fairly easy. I watched a ton of like 80s horror movies for some reason. Not saying.
That was weird. Sorry, there was a gnat on my keyboard, and apparently it just triggered whatever the last comment I clicked on.
Interesting. So I watched a bunch of 80s horror movies. I'm not going to go into depth as to which ones they are. I promise I will talk about them at some point coming up. No real reason why, but...
No, there's a real reason why.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so saw those, and then also watched DC League of Super Pets because it dropped on HBO Max.
Yes.
And you also just watched this.
Yeah, literally, like hour and a half ago, I finished it. 2 hours ago?
Something like Looks that. Like we sent out the Lego signal here. 80s horror!
It's just like Lego. It's like a light shining in the sky that takes the silhouette of like a hand holding a knife that's dripping cranberry sauce.
That's actually the cover for Blood Rage too. That's pretty good. Good job, sir.
I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, but I knock it out of the park.
You saw Poltergeist in theaters tonight. That would be a fun one to watch in the theater again.
That's fun.
Or in the theater. I've never seen it, but I mean, it's already been in the theater. So again, it plays whatever. Anyway, so DC League of Super Pets. So real quick, I was not a fan of this movie before watching it.
Yeah,
like seeing the trailers and stuff, like I was like, this just looks stupid and dumb, and
it's Secret Life of Pets with superpowers.
Yeah, this just doesn't look interesting, and I was like, my biggest complaint was I don't like what they did with Ace. Ace was supposed to be is it a Doberman or Great Dane? It was supposed to be like this big majestic dog, and in this movie he's like a boxer or something.
Yeah, the boxer sounds right.
Just a very I feel like I'm gonna offend the dog lovers out there. Just a very generic looking dog. Just
careful. Oh, okay. Now we're good.
And then he was also the point that he was being voiced by Kevin Hart, which Kevin Hart, great comedic actor, but that's not the that's not the voice that I would expect Ace the Bat Hound to have. I would expect him to be more like Batman.
I would have expected him to be more like Keith David, who ended up actually voicing Crypto's dad.
Yeah.
Weird.
So I wasn't a huge fan of this. The trailer had this whole joke with Ace peeing on a statue or fountain or whatever, and like, I drink 2 toilet bowls and a bidet, and just this just looks dumb. But I heard a lot of good things. A lot of people were saying, like, even though it looks dumb, give it a shot. It's a good movie. So I watched it. It's a good movie.
It's a lot better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I really liked the movie. The jokes. There were so many good jokes that were there for the kid. This is a kids movie. It absolutely is a Secret Life of Pets with superpowers, just a lot more entertaining than Secret Life of Pets. No offense to those who love Secret Life of Pets. I just wasn't a huge fan, but yeah, this one was great.
I like Secret Life of Pets.
So no offense to my brother.
I'm very offended.
Your shoes stink. Anyway, so
hey, you know what? Screw you. I did just get back from a walk, so that's probably why.
Yeah. Oh, that's why this apartment has an odor to it. Okay. It's not the cat boxes. Moving on. So yeah, Super Pets was really good. I really enjoyed it. The humor was great. There's good humor for kids, great humor for adults as well. Oh man, I don't want to spoil a joke, but there is a joke that made me laugh the loudest. And so I'm not going to reveal the punchline, but there's a joke of Batman saying that he works alone, and like, I think it's Ace sits there, starts listing off like, yeah, you work alone, except you work with Robin, Batgirl.
Listing them.
And then it cuts away from him, and then it cuts back, and he's still going through this list of people. And one of the names that he listed,
Batman was listing him himself. He was like, except for Robin and Commissioner Gordon and Alfred.
Yeah. And it cuts back to him still listing it, and there's a name that he says in there. I was like, that is so good.
And whoever so-and-so was.
Yeah. I was like, I love that line. That was so good. But
I liked the turtle. I can't see beep.
Yeah, they kept editing the turtle. Especially like, where the am I?
Where the beep? Like, they actually censored in the movie. Oh my god.
I think the turtle was Merton or whatever. Morton. Was voiced by Natasha Lyonne, which was perfect voice for that turtle. So, like, I was like, who is this? I got like some like granny sounding old woman. Then I looked it up. I was like, oh, that is Natasha Lyonne's voice. Okay, yeah,
I know exactly who you are. The glasses aren't a good disguise. A mustache might have been.
Yeah, she's talking about Superman.
So good. I like the voices in the movie. The voice acting was all good. Like, they chose they chose everybody perfectly for this. Yes, even Kevin Hart.
I ended up liking Kevin Hart, and the fact that like Ace was like a generic looking dog. By the end of the movie, I did appreciate what they did with him.
So yeah, when you get Kevin Hart voicing a character, you're thinking it's going to be more like the bunny from Secret Life of Pets, which he also voiced, where it's going to be some like crazed, harebrained weirdo. Like you look at most of these other roles that Kevin Hart has played, where he's kind of like this confident, but like not confident, scaredy cat type guy.
Pretty much every movie that he's done with Dwayne Johnson.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's kind of what you would expect going into this, but it turns out Ace had a lot of heart to him. He was kind of like the backbone of the movie, essentially, and he had a lot of like confidence and just courage to him. He wasn't like any of Kevin Hart's other roles, so I thought it was actually really good. It was a nice change of pace for Kevin Hart too.
Yeah.
Other voices in the movie, everyone who voiced a Justice League member. Fantastic. They chose like perfect voices for everybody.
Like Cyborg had like half an afro. Like,
well, that's what you do when you cast Daveed Diggs.
I know, like in the comics, like in the 70s, he kind of had like a half row.
Half row.
He had like a half row there, half afro.
Afro.
It wasn't as pronounced as it was in this movie. This movie, they just went like full afro on it, and it was so funny. Yeah. It looked good, but silly.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It's on HBO Max right now, guys. If you want to check it out, it is ready and waiting for you over there. Yes, we still watch some WB stuff on HBO Max. It's okay. It's okay.
So another thing I would like to add to this potentially is what new movies are you contemplating watching over the course of the next week that you will be talking about next tagline?
Moonfall, which is also on HBO Max.
You're going
to
watch
out earlier this year, still haven't seen it.
You're going to watch Moonfall?
I kind of want to.
Yeah. I think after the stream tonight, I'll probably watch Blonde. I wanted to watch it the other night, and because I saw it on Netflix, I click on it, like, it won't be up until Wednesday. I'm like, well, why do you have a thumbnail?
Blonde is getting trashed on Twitter.
Yeah. So I'll subject myself to that.
There's a lot of people saying, don't watch it. It is not good. That being said, I don't expect that we'll see anything from Blonde at the Oscars. Not even an Best Actress for Ana de Armas.
I do kind of like the casting of Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. I think that's actually a pretty good casting. The clips of her that I've seen, she looks good in that role.
I think I'm going to hard pass on it, to be honest. For me personally, from what I heard, it does not sound like an appetizing film.
Okay. Well, I might give it a shot. We'll see. And again, I do plan on watching Smile tomorrow night. I know we were talking about at some point trying to see Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah, we need to go see Don't Worry, Darling, and we need to try to
catch.
We want to try to get Avatar back in. Go see Avatar again in the theater.
Yeah. So we'll see. That's what we'll probably be talking about some of those tagline next week. Otherwise, let's get on to some movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
Back to you.
Yay! Oh,
I like how you started like the small cutoff of you. Ah!
I've been doing it the entire time. Do y'all believe me? Anyway,
yes, because I can see you down below the screen here. And anyways, how's the box office looking?
Interesting, actually. It's looking very interesting.
Oh, really?
As always, can we guess what the number one movie in the box office is this weekend?
So you and I were talking before this went live. I haven't looked at the actual box office. I have no idea what number one is, but I was saying, well, it's either going to be Don't Worry, Darling or Avatar.
And it is, in fact, one of those two movies.
I mean, I would have to say probably Don't Worry, Darling. I don't know if Avatar necessarily is going to generate enough ticket sales to hit number one, especially because it was just streaming like a month ago.
Which is the weirdest thing to say ever, considering it's the number one movie of all time.
Well, fuck me then. I don't know.
No, not too much. It is Don't Worry, Darling.
Wait, it is Don't Worry, Darling? Make up my mind.
Don't Worry, Darling is the number one.
Okay, so I was right.
Don't Worry, Darling. It's the number one.
Okay.
Made about almost 20 million in its opening week here, 19.3. So pretty good opening numbers for a essentially an original piece that's had some controversy online. It's getting some pretty mixed reviews. You got some people who are like all on board with it. You got some people who are like, no, hate this movie. It's trash. Get it away. So we love a good mixed movie because that means everyone's free to make up their own opinion on it. But it is number one, so a lot of people made up the opinion of, I want to go see it, apparently. Number two is not Avatar. Number two is The Woman King, which was number one last week.
Ah, okay.
coming in with another 11 million, so it dropped about 42%. I think that thing's probably going to have fairly decent legs for that kind of movie. So
that one's got a good swing into like early Oscar contention.
Yeah, for sure. Number 3 is going to be Avatar, the re-release, which is only going to be around for 2 weeks, so that thing's going to be out of the top 10 after next weekend. So it's not going to be. We're not going to be watching that one for too long here. Number 4 is Barbarian. Number 5, See How They Run. And last week, number 6 was Top Gun Maverick. This week, number 6 is Pearl.
Oh, really? Okay. I was waiting for you to say it still is Top Gun Maverick.
And at number 7 is
Top Gun Maverick.
Bullet Train.
What?
Yeah, it's Bullet Train. Number 8. Now number 8 is DC Lego Super Pets, which we literally just watched on HBO Max, so that's not going to stay in there for too much longer either.
This segment should have been changed to what number is Top Gun Maverick at this weekend?
Number 9 is Top Gun Maverick, yeah.
Well,
number 9 is Top Gun Maverick. Guys, Top Gun Maverick's almost out of the top 10. What's happening? It's been in the theater for 18 weeks, and it's just now reaching number 9. Absolutely insane.
And watch, like next weekend, it'll climb back up. It'll be like number 7, and we're like, this movie's never going anywhere. It's just going to bounce back and forth in the top 10.
Very possible, considering that I don't think DC Lego Super Pets is going to stay in the top 10. I think that thing will actually probably fall out of the top 10 before Top Gun Maverick will. So
now that it's streaming, yeah.
Even if it is currently over Top Gun Maverick. Yes, exactly. And number 10 is Minions: The Rise of Gru.
That one should also be dropping out because I believe that is also streaming on, I want to say it's like Paramount.
Yeah.
So
it's probably not going to stick around too much longer. Other interesting things to note, that Brahmastra Part 1, Shiva, is at number 14. And there was a re-release, a 2022 re-release of Howl's Moving Castle from Studio Ghibli, which is at number 13. So interesting that movie on a re-release gets number 13. That is the only Ghibli movie I have seen.
Okay.
So that was a Fathom event. I do want, speaking of Fathom events, where is
Clerks
3? No, really, where's Clerks 3? Oh, there it is. Clerks 3 is at number 23. Yeah, that's... I don't know if those numbers get added to on the tour, on its tour or not. I don't know if that's how it works, if it counts those for like box office totals.
Like if those numbers are coming just from the Fathom event showings, or if it's including the tour that Kevin Smith's doing with it.
I think these numbers only qualify for theatrical releases. So as we experienced was the Jay and Silent Bob reboot at the Movies pop-up last summer. Yeah. What is time? As we experienced that at the Movies pop-up, I don't think any numbers from ticket sales for that qualified for its
no. But that one was one that Kevin Smith also took on a tour, much like he's doing with Clerks 3.
Yeah.
So,
which is why I brought it up.
Yeah. So. That one at the Movies pop-up is not that didn't count. That was someone putting the Blu-ray into a Blu-ray player and projecting it on the wall.
So that being said, I don't think we're going to see too much more added to Clerks 3's number either, because as Nerd Pop points out here, remember, it's a very limited release.
Yeah, Clerks 3 is probably not going to see a lot of money until it's available for like streaming on demand. That's where it will start.
Luckily, it sounds like for Kevin Smith, his partnership with Lionsgate is pretty solid. They're pretty willing to do whatever he wants. So nice for someone of his caliber as a filmmaker who's really just in the game to kind of produce whatever he wants to produce, to have a studio that's willing to produce whatever he wants to produce. Good for him.
Yeah, I think, well, because Kevin Smith was the one that, well, we saw the video of this during Clerks where it was saying that they were the ones that stepped up to distribute Dogma, which was a huge success for both Kevin Smith and for Lionsgate. So that kind of solidified that relationship.
Yeah, it was like their number one movie for a while, right?
Yeah. Jump ahead to 2022, and the rights to Dogma are tied up with, I believe, the Weinstein Company.
What?
Which is why you can't buy Dogma anywhere. You can't rent it. It's not available digitally. You can't stream it. You can't find it. If you have it on physical media, that's about the only way you can watch it right now, is you have to already own it.
Which is why physical media is so important, guys. Physical media. I'd be buying more if I could afford to buy anything right now.
Or at least if you're getting it if you get it digitally, at least get it from a source that's not going to claim licensing rights over it.
True.
So they can't take it away from you. It's yours. You store it on your hard drive. So
true.
Anyways, so that was the box office. So on to movie news. Let's go and talk about.
Yes. Guys, you know what time it is. It's time for your Barbie watch. It's our weekly adventure into what's going on with that dang Barbie movie that's supposed to come out at some point next year. That means we have to literally keep this bit going until at some point next year. I think it's like next summer or something like that. Oh boy. Oh man.
I still think I'm going to go run to like Walmart and buy a Barbie doll, and that will be my 1/6 scale Barbie that's standing over here.
Nailed it. We do have some interesting news this week. Luckily for me, as I'm preparing for this, all I literally have to do is type in Barbie movie in Google, and there's a news story usually always waiting for me. This week's is actually look. I've kind of like been cornball about some of these. I've been kind of less than perfect on finding really good news stories about the Barbie movie. This week's is actually kind of interesting, and it's got a quote that I want to read to you guys as well. The wonderful Danish-Norwegian Euro pop band Aqua, very, very much well known for that song, not that version.
Garth hates you.
That version's DMCA free.
Garth hates your soul.
That's fine. I'll survive. But that song that version's derived from, we all know it. I'm a Barbie girl. Yeah, we love this song. It's not in the movie. It's not going to be in the movie. Would you shut up and let me do this damn news story? It's not going to be in the movie. We've already heard that the managers for Aqua have come out and told us, yeah, they haven't reached out to us. We know it's not going to be in the movie at all. And, to the chagrin of most of us, we're very sad about this. Well, the actual members of the band have something to say about it as well. Funny enough, that song is turning 25 this year. So that song is getting old.
That song is able to rent a pink convertible from a rental place.
It's true. But here's some quotes. Let me read some quotes here. They had something to say about this. I am not going to pronounce her name right. Leen Nystrom. That's
sounds good to me.
The lead vocalist for Aqua. She said, yes, the Barbie girl herself. I totally understand why they didn't use it, but it's going to bring us a lot of attention no matter what. The keyboardist, Soren Rastad, they have their names feature the letters with the little lines and stuff going through them. So, very Danish, Norwegian. They said, on the other hand, they joked about the alternative narrative, which is, we should say we turned it down because Ryan Gosling's not good enough.
So at least they have really good humor about this. I love that one. The one. So they asked they didn't ask us to put our song in their movie, and that's fine. We're still going to be extremely popular with this movie coming out. So
100%. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing too. They realize it. They understand their place. They understand their lane in all of this, which is regardless of whether our song is in the movie or not, people are going to be blasting the song literally all the time because there's a Barbie movie coming out and this song is about Barbie girl. And it's such a ingrained part of people's lives back in the 90s that people have no help but blasting the song just like this. That was your Barbie watch.
That's like the Kate Bush song, running up that hill, when that was played. Yeah, when that was played on Stranger Things, that song just skyrocketed. That's what's gonna happen with this. It's already happening, I'm willing to bet. The second that they announced a Barbie movie was being made, that song started climbing up like iTunes and Spotify charts and whatnot.
Everybody was reminded of the song. They're like, I do remember that song and I do want to hear it again. Nostalgia.
And by the time that movie comes out, that song is going to be at the top of the charts again.
Yep.
Aqua's doing a fantastic job, and I don't blame them at all whatsoever.
What do you mean they're doing a fantastic job? Literally, all they have to do is just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
They have to do nothing, and they're going to get dividends on that song again.
Yeah. That's why I love that response. That's such a good response.
And Mattel can suck it.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. We've got what's this quote from Tom Hanks?
This one's funny. I literally just read this and I was like, you know what? I want to briefly talk about this just because I think it's a funny thing. This can be like a quick one. We don't have to dive in too deep on this.
Well, I kind of want to play a game with it real quick and see what you think.
I think I have an idea of what kind of game you want to play with this.
Yeah.
So can we say his quote?
Yeah.
So apparently he was speaking with People magazine about the about what is this? It's about a book he wrote, I think. Oh yeah, he announced an upcoming novel type called the Making of Another Major Motion Picture Classic, due out next May. Says it's a fictional story about the making of a big budget superhero film and the comic book creation that inspired it. And he spoke with people about the book's topic of the process of movie making. And here's his quote. He says, "No one knows how a movie is made, though everyone thinks they do. I've made a ton of movies, and 4 of them are pretty good, I think. And I'm still amazed at how films come together. From a flicker of an idea to the flickering image on screen, the whole process is a miracle. Movie making is very hard work over a long period of time that consists of so many moments of joy slapped up against an equal number of feelings of self-loathing. It is the greatest job in the world and the most confounding of labors that I know of." I love Tom Hanks. I love this
absolutely.
man.
Yeah.
If anything ever comes out about this guy, I'm going to be devastatingly sad.
Yeah, like if like, knock on wood, if this is like, if he turns out like Kevin Spacey type of situation,
Come on.
Like,
what hope do the rest of us have?
So, yeah, for example, I love Kevin Spacey as an actor. That crushed my heart when the stuff about him came out.
Because he was an ass.
I mean, still, his acting ability is still one of my favorite actors. Tom Hanks, right up there with that. Yeah. Meeting Tom Hanks in person would be something that's on my bucket list.
Oh, that'd be so awesome. That would be so awesome.
Just be like, "Hi, Tom." Like, that's all I want. Just knock on Pinocchio, you mean. Good one, nerd.
I like this quote. I love this, him talking about movie making, because he's been in the industry for quite some time now. He's done a lot of really good movies, a lot of them with like Steven Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, just a ton of like fantastic filmmakers. But apparently he thinks that only 4 of them are pretty good, which is astounding to me, because that man has way more than 4 pretty good films.
Yeah.
This is the part of the quote I wanted to highlight. 4, Tom. 4? You think you've only had 4 pretty good films?
So the quick game I want to play is go through his filmography real quick and pick out what are the 4 that you think he's referring to. He doesn't actually list the 4, which is fine. Makes sense.
He doesn't want to have to call out anybody, anyone else he's worked with, any directors, and be like, "Your movie I don't consider one of my best movies."
Yeah. But
professional courtesy.
But which 4 do you think he's actually talking about? Or this is more or less like, what do you think his, like, what 4 are the most meaningful to you and that you just hope he agrees with you?
I'm going to bring up his IMDb real quick just so I can see his full.
Those of y'all in the chat, what 4 do you think he might be talking about as well? Or what 4 do you like from him?
I will say right off the bat, the man is a humble dude. Mm-hmm. He's not talking about any movie he's directed. So That Thing You Do is not one of the 4 movies he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's a humble guy. He's not going to consider it. All artists. That's artists in general. Most artists usually look at their own work and they see the flaws first.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an artist and you think you made something perfect, you're probably not a true artist. Let's be upfront and honest about that.
That he's talking about his acting for the most part. So
yeah,
he doesn't really do that much acting in That Thing You Do. His primary is the directing. So yeah, I wouldn't think from an acting standpoint he would claim that movie either.
He's great in that movie.
Oh yeah,
he's fantastic in that movie. But again, that's my opinion. That might not be his opinion. I will say that
I got one already. I know.
I will say before that, probably nothing recently. He's probably not considering anything that came out recently as one of his greatest movies. So Elvis is definitely not up there.
Yeah. I think I've got 4 that I would probably go with.
Let me look.
Yeah.
Let me grab 4 real quick.
I think there's 4 that I feel like would make sense for him to say that those are 4.
I forgot he voiced himself in the Simpsons movie.
Well, there's one of them, the 4. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. That one, and that one. Ooh, no. Okay, I have to take that one out and probably add that one, actually.
I'm seeing some good ones in the chat. There's one in particular that I think absolutely 100% is one of his 4. The rest of them I'm just kind of hoping, but there's one in particular that I guarantee is one of his 4, and no one said it yet.
No one said it yet. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, and I don't see anyone having said it yet either. All right, what's your 4?
My 4 that I'm going to go with, I'm actually going to work backwards, so I'm going to save that one to the end. But I am thinking, wait, where did they go? That one, that one. Okay, so I'm thinking Castaway.
I was thinking that, but I took it out.
Green Mile.
Interesting.
Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is what I took Castaway out for. So I'm going with Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, and Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah. I'm iffy on the Forrest Gump. I think he really likes Forrest Gump, and it definitely was a career-defining role for him. But I think from an actor loving to act, I think like Philadelphia, first and foremost, I guarantee Philadelphia is one of those 4 that he has on there.
Yeah, I feel like it is too.
That man acted his ass off in that movie. I think out of all of his filmography, that is the number 1 movie that is like the pinnacle of his acting. And yeah, it's really good.
It's just Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4. But yeah, I don't think. Man, there's so many though that could be in there. Like, yeah, Castaway, I think could easily. I mean, Castaway easily could be in there. Just the amount of like effort that he put into that role, to basically be as bone skinny as he was, to play that role like he's been on the island for 4 or 5 years.
You know how they shot that, right?
They waited a while for him to lose the weight.
So Robert Zemeckis started filming the beginning of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Up until like in the movie, like you can tell the movie's kind of split in this too. He's perfectly fine at the beginning, and then he gets stranded on the island. It shows him getting used to the island. Then it like jumps forward in time where he's lost the weight, has the beard and everything. I think that time jump opens with him spearing the fish standing on the rocks in the ocean.
Yeah.
in between then, like that was like I want to say like 8 months or so. During that time, Tom Hanks actually grew out the beard and lost the weight. In the meantime, Robert Zemeckis went over and filmed What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Robert Zemeckis filmed an entire other movie while waiting for Tom Hanks to grow a beard and lose weight.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah, and then that's another one I would think would be up there too, is Apollo 13. I think that one's definitely up there.
I can see like Lego saying that she hates Philadelphia. I don't know your personal reason for hating it. I know I've seen a lot of people hate it just because it doesn't paint gay people in a bright light. I will say that it is a good representation of like the AIDS epidemic and how like it typically for a while it was stereotypically a gay disease.
As it was, as it was quoted to be.
For example, Eazy-E from NWA, when he was diagnosed with AIDS, when he first was told that he had AIDS, I think they even showed it in the Straight Outta Compton movie. He was like, "But I'm not gay." Well, you don't have to be gay, and that was the thing is during like the 80s because of like Freddie Mercury, because of people dying of AIDS who were gay, it became a very strong stereotype, and people just absolutely hated that. And so that's basically the backbone of Philadelphia is everyone being homophobic around him because he has AIDS. Just it's a hard watch, but man, he acted so well in that movie.
Other ones, like I would love to put Big on that list, but he's definitely not considering Big. Like Big just has just touching for me. But
I was originally when thinking 4 movies, Big was one of the ones I was like, I bet you Big's on his list, and there's a chance that one maybe because he probably had a lot of fun making it, playing a kid in an adult body. That would be fun.
You've Got Mail, classic rom-com. I don't think that's on his list, but I think that if he were to pick out 4 like rom-coms or something that he's done, that one would probably be the top of his list. It would be the top of mine. And then the other one that I really would love if he actually included on his list would be The Terminal, but that's also one of those like it's not his most popular film. It's not his most well-known film, but it is really good.
It's a fun film.
It's really good.
Eat to bite, a bite to eat. Krakozia.
Krakozia. Yeah.
I love The Terminal.
Green Mile could be on there too, like you mentioned, but Saving Private Ryan is definitely on the list. 100%.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if Saving Private Ryan wasn't on his personal list.
You mean The Lady Killers isn't on the list?
Probably not.
I love The Lady Killers though. Like that is I know it got like a lot of flack and a lot of people hate it, but I loved it. His
ridiculous ass movie.
Yeah. That movie was like a tour de force of character acting.
He might consider it on his list, depending on how many takes he had to do saying, "We make beautiful music
together." Yeah.
Road to Perdition? I don't know. Maybe.
I haven't seen Road to Perdition. I need to watch that. I haven't seen any of the Da Vinci Code movies.
I don't think. Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas is 100% on his list. We know that for sure. Cut it, print it. That's it. Done. No, I don't think anything relatively recent is going to be on there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing recently I could possibly think of maybe Captain Phillips or Sully.
Not one, not both, but maybe.
Yeah.
Sully was good. I actually haven't seen Captain Phillips. I saw Sully, but Sully was pretty good.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's just kind of weird. It's kind of weird when you hear actors say that because typically you don't hear actors make that kind of comment unless they're sitting at a table with a bunch of nasty food in front of them with James Corden on the other side of the table. That's the only time you hear actors really criticize their work in the movies that they've been in. So,
list your 4 best movies or list your 4 worst movies.
Yeah. And they're like, nope, I'm just going to eat these like fish eyeballs covered in hot sauce.
I would love if I had the opportunity to sit down with Tom Hanks, I would love to ask him, what do you personally consider your 4 worst movies? So I could turn around and be like, what, you consider Green Mile one of your worst movies? That movie was great. What are you talking about?
I wouldn't ask him what his 4 worst ones. I want to ask him which ones did he love making the most. Because those are the ones I want to see if, like, as me, someone who enjoys watching movies, if I'm able to see that love and that passion that he had while playing that role. I want to see if that, and that's what Lego's saying. It's not professional to speak negatively. That's why I was like, which ones did you enjoy playing? Not what are your favorite movies that you've made. Which ones did you enjoy playing?
Yeah.
So
exactly. I mean, definitely, Billy has definitely got to be up there on that. But
you mean he's not listing Bosom Buddies as one of his favorite roles of all time?
Turner and Hooch?
Yeah.
I want to work with a dog.
Oh no, we completely forgot his outstanding performance, and I'm really shocked he didn't win any awards for playing David S. Pumpkins on Saturday Night Live.
He's his own thing.
And the skeletons are
part of it. Oh man, I need them to bring that back. I need them to bring that bit back on SNL.
That's what we need this Halloween for SNL. Bring back David S. Pumpkins, and not the cartoon. Just bring back Tom Hanks,
please. Anyway, what's the next thing?
Next thing, it was announced that James Earl Jones has decided to retire from voicing Darth Vader.
What?
He has signed over the rights for his voice performance. Yeah, I'll explain this. Okay. He signed over the rights to his voice performance over to Lucasfilm and some European company that keeps track of your voices. This is weird.
This isn't surprising because they've already utilized this for Obi-Wan for the show.
Yes. So let me see if I get like the specific. What's that company? Because I've talked about something like this before when referencing Film Theory. Film Theory did a bunch of videos where they're talking about how like Disney is collecting the actors' faces and sounds and voices and stuff.
A terrifying concept, but
absolutely. But I understand why.
We're gonna keep you alive forever.
This article is not naming the company. I'm trying to find what the actual company is.
We own you now, Mickey, chill.
I can't find it anyway. Anyways, so it's some European company who this is basically what they do is they collect sound clips and voices and stuff, archiving them specifically for these purposes.
To reproduce them
so
later,
he's basically signed away his voice specifically for Darth Vader to Lucasfilm and this voice company that keeps these sounds to license out.
Essentially, his estate gets paid for this from here to eternity, right? Every time they use his voice as Darth Vader.
I believe so, yes. So the wild thing to keep in mind. So what I was talking about, just summarizing what Film Theory was talking about as far as keeping your face, is kind of like what we saw in Rogue One, where they brought back Peter Cushing's face for Grand Moff Tarkin using his likeness. We saw something like this similar with Ghostbusters Afterlife when they brought back Egon in it. So stuff like that, making the younger Luke in Mandalorian or the younger Leia in Rogue One. They're archiving these looks because while it is a real person's face, it's also that character's face. Luke has the same face as Mark Hamill. So they're I guess copywriting, trademarking the face, the look, and the sound, and in the case of James Earl Jones, the voice, because he has a very distinct voice. It's going to be hard unless someone's just really good at sound modulation and manipulation, which I believe is possible. that it's going to be hard for someone else to do that voice, which means that they have some kind of computer AI system that knows enough of James Earl Jones's voice, to be able to say whatever lines he needs to say as Darth Vader with whatever inflection and tone and candor to it.
I wonder how weird. How do they credit that? Because it's going to end up being either they're generating the dialogue in a computer, or they having somebody voice the lines and they're just laying over his voice onto that in the computer.
I believe in something like that when it's running off of like an AI to run the voice modulation of it, to pump the voice out. I'm willing to bet it's probably like you just type the words in and it just plays it.
So I would think for the technology to work properly, there still needs to be someone doing the lines, because they need to be able to attach the voice to specific inflection and emotion in the dialogue. And you can't necessarily generate that one-to-one perfectly with just a computer.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like it has some way of being able to do that based off of tone, putting emphasis on certain syllables or something like that. Yeah, putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable, and like it has a way of being able to do that just automatically. You don't have to have that person making those sounds in that certain way, talking in a certain tone with different adjustments to how they would talk or how fast or slow or whatever. Like all of that can be done computerized.
The thing is that they did this for Luke in the Book of Boba Fett. When they brought Luke Skywalker back into the Book of Boba Fett, they did the same thing where they reproduced Mark Hamill's voice for that appearance, but his voice didn't have a whole lot of emotional inflection. While he physically looked like Mark Hamill was brought back to life in a young format, I know Mark Hamill's still alive, but when it looks like they brought him back in his younger form, like almost flawlessly, like maybe one little scene where he looked a little off, but for the most part in Book of Boba Fett, he looked flawless. But he didn't sound flawless. He didn't sound like he had any kind of real human emotional weight to the words he was saying. It was just kind of like someone was reading the lines on a paper, essentially. And so I'm wondering if they are laying over the AI over, if they want to or should lay over the AI on top of someone actually adding human emotion, so the AI can pick up on the inflections and add the tone,
Yeah. So here it's saying for future Star Wars projects, Jones has reportedly granted permission for Disney and Lucasfilm to use artificial intelligence and archival recordings to recreate his voice. Jones's family were pleased with the finished product by the Ukrainian-based voice cloning company Respeecher. So that's how they're doing. So he's not like what Lego's asking here. Does he leave the rights to his voice to someone in his will? It's not the rights to his voice. It is the rights to his voice as Darth Vader. Those specific rights now belong to Lucasfilm and Respeecher.
Yeah, like he didn't sign over his voice for Mufasa. So if you have Mufasa again in the future, sorry, you're getting someone other than James Earl Jones to do it.
Yeah,
but he did sign over the rights to Darth Vader.
Which is happening. So we'll see how that turns out.
He signed over the rights to Darth Vader. So anytime we use Darth Vader in the future, which is likely to happen, that character is never going to go away. You'll have James Earl Jones' voice attached to it. Interesting.
Wait a minute, I've seen Scream 3. Haven't we had this technology for a while? No, that technology still doesn't actually exist. Chris, since you're not aware of what we're talking about here, in the first Scream, they had like that voice box thing. So whenever they call, what's your favorite scary movie? They didn't sound like whoever the killers were. It sounded like the actor doing the voice of Ghostface.
Hide their voice, yeah.
Yeah, in Scream 3, they have the same kind of device, but for some weird, stupid reason, it can flawlessly do the voice of any other character. For example, at the beginning of Scream 3, they're targeting Cotton Weary, and he's like standing outside the door with his girlfriend. He's like, Ghostface is chasing after Cotton Weary's girlfriend, Liev Schreiber's character, but he's outside of a door using this and sounds like he's standing right there. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. This technology doesn't exist. And that was back in what, 99? Something like that, 98, 99 when that came out.
Yeah.
And here we are, 2022, still haven't gotten it.
I imagine it is actually part of the deal that, yes, the money, every time his voice appears as Darth Vader, that somebody is getting paid. His estate, his family, somebody is going to be paid.
Oh.
I mean, he's still alive right now, so he's getting paid right now for it. But once he passes away, his estate, his family will probably get paid for it.
So it's not that he's giving them, he's signing away his voice. It's still going to be treated like every time Darth Vader is in a movie and they use respeech or whatever to replicate his voice, his estate will still get paid for it, just like he is acting. What he's doing is he's signing off the rights to, yes, you don't have to come ask me. You just use my voice.
You don't have to come ask my family. I am saying right now, while I'm still alive, you are allowed to do this as long as my estate is paid for my appearances.
Yes.
Which is which honestly, like on an actor's, on the actor side, smart. Your family is going to be taken care of now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Monetarily. Star Wars, one of the biggest franchises of all time. Disney, one of the biggest film companies of all time. Your family's taken care of now because your voice is going to be used as Darth Vader for many years to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that was an interesting story. I'm really curious as to how that's set up because, again, James Earl Jones, iconic voice as Darth Vader. I'm wondering if Disney might try to do something like that with Mufasa. We'll
Probably
see.
not.
I don't know. Darth Vader. Like when I watched Lion King as a kid, I didn't necessarily think when Mufasa was talking that was Darth Vader. Primarily because when Mufasa talks, you don't hear the with it, so that's a dead giveaway. It's Darth Vader, but
they literally could
like
get
that voice could be replicated.
They literally could get someone else who has a deep, commanding voice to just replace him as
everything
as
the
Vader.
light touches. Just
like Blake Clark replaced Jim Varney as Slinky, and barely anyone noticed.
Yeah, howdy, Woody.
Yeah, it sounded like almost the same exact voice.
You know what I mean, Vern? Sound more like Beetlejuice, but whatever.
I was actually thinking this.
Like, Keith David for Mufasa, that would work too. Yeah,
it would. I don't think anyone would really notice.
I mean, Keith David's also pushing up there in age as well, so he's not going to be doing it for long. But
I also don't think we're going to be seeing Mufasa that much. He's got the prequel movie that's coming out,
and that's about it.
And maybe they'll make another sequel of some sort to the live action Lion King, but I don't think they're going to make any sequels to the original Lion King movie because they've already made some direct to video. I don't think we're going to see more Lion King past what we're already currently seeing right now. So I don't think we're worried about Mufasa.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next story. Real quick, to answer Tori, I have not seen Smile. I will be seeing it tomorrow night. So I will figure out some way to give thoughts, feelings, and opinions on that. I want to kind of like redo exactly like how we do reviews for the most part. Not just on the channel, but like in general. So we'll see. I'll talk to my brother. We'll figure out how to
get. Still might do like a 2-minute right out of theater or something for it.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. So this one, I feel like you have more information on this next one. I mean, I know the runtime thing, but the other part of that.
Yeah. So. Pretty much. I mean, I'd still have to pull up the news story because there involves quotes that I have to directly see. So, I mean, I don't necessarily have the news story ready to go for you right now.
Okay. So while we're waiting on that, we would like to bring you into, because this was pretty much like the rest of the show for tonight. So we'll just go ahead and say that this is a part of it's the Feige family updates. What's going on? Hey, forget about it.
It's the MCU. Forget about it.
Anyways, we're going to spend the rest of this episode talking about the MCU because apparently that's what everyone wants to hear.
Yes, actually, we pretty much are. Yeah.
So real quick, it was announced that, I don't know, is this official that the Black Panther Wakanda Forever's runtime is like 2 hours and 40 something minutes long? Was this like, was the Marvel Studios officially announced this? Because I don't remember hearing if that was.
They listed the film's runtime as coming in at 161 minutes. So yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes long. So it's almost a 3-hour long movie.
But is that official from Marvel Studios, or is that like some news saying like, well, we've heard?
That is coming from multiple theaters, including Cineplex and Regal Cinemas, listing it reportedly.
Okay.
So not coming from Marvel, but it's coming from pretty official sources who would know.
So that'll make this the second longest MCU movie after Endgame.
Yep.
Which, first of all, I mean, that might seem a little bit weird, especially if you look at it within the context of what they did in Endgame. And when you hear about like how long Endgame was, that would make sense, or what all they did in Endgame, it would make sense that it necessitated that long of a runtime. Looking at this, at Black Panther Wakanda Forever, it seems like it's still kind of like we get the idea of what's going on. Like a part of this movie is going to deal a lot with the loss of T'Challa and where we go from there. At the same time, we've got Namor and I keep wanting to say Atlanteans because that's what they were in the comic books, but they changed it to, I forgot what they're referring to, the race, Namor's races. Not to confuse it with Aquaman. Yeah, it starts with a T.
Like Taloan or something like that.
Yeah. So having to deal with that as well. Just knowing, one, we kind of know this just duh. And second of all, from the trailer as well. Just knowing that those are going to be two major storylines of this movie, I can't see why it's going to drag so much to 2 hours and 40 something minutes. I mean, unless we're doing like a whole like hour of honoring T'Challa, which was going to be
a lot of the inner working politics of Wakanda. What do they do once their leader has passed away? What happens? What becomes of the Black Panther mantle now? How do they honor him in regards to what they were doing with the rest of the world? Also, let's flip back over. We got Namor's origin movie, essentially. So we're going to be spending a lot of time with him and his people and building him up because, he's not going to be done after this movie. He's definitely going to come back and have a place in the rest of the MCU. So I think given that we've only gotten one trailer so far and we don't know like the overall plot of the entire movie, it's feasible that they could pack enough into this movie to keep it that length. Yeah.
There is probably also a lot that we just don't know of from the trailer yet.
100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody is crying during Black Panther. You are not a living, breathing human being if you're not crying during this movie. I guarantee it.
Or you're living and breathing, but you're not a human being. So here's
Lego. Dang man, I'm here for every minute and more. Give me 3 hours. Calm down, Lego.
So here's the news story. Feige has been on record talking about why they decided to not recast Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. Why they haven't decided to recast T'Challa yet. Which is, whether... So backtrack. There's a lot of people on Twitter right now who just don't accept the fact that T'Challa wasn't recasted. For whatever their personal reasons are, attachment to the character, role model, any number of reasons where they feel like the character itself should live on to continue being a hero for people. MCU, Kevin Feige, Ryan Coogler, they've all decided that it's best to let the character himself pass away within the 616 timeline in the MCU. And it is an interesting decision, of course. We know that Chadwick Boseman put on such an iconic performance in the, I believe, 4 movies that he's appeared in. So Black Panther, the 2 Avengers movies, and Civil War.
Yeah.
Just in a short window of time in the MCU, he's put on such an iconic performance.
Everyone in the chat's like, I'm a robot. I'm not going to cry when watching. You're going to cry. You're going to be a robot that's leaking, and you're going to freeze up like Tin Man and Wizard of Oz.
Face is going to rust. Deal with it. So a lot of people have had complaints about that. So Kevin Feige, he is quoted explaining the decision not to recast being, It just felt like it was much too soon to recast. Stan Lee always said that Marvel represents the world outside your window. And we had talked about how, as extraordinary and fantastical as our characters and stories are, there's a relatable and human element to everything we do. The world is still processing the loss of Chad, and director Ryan Coogler poured that into the story. The conversations were entirely about, yes, what do we do next? And how could the legacy of Chadwick and what he had done to help Wakanda and the Black Panther become these incredible, aspirational, iconic ideas continue? That's what it was all about. So basically the idea is the way they've organized the MCU is in the fantastical characters is that they want to make them a little bit more grounded, a little bit more relatable, despite all the fantastical elements of the MCU and, you know, all the science fiction part that just is just beyond our actual reality. They're still having it reflect real life. And in this situation, we know that in real life, people die, people pass away. And it is something to make it relatable to have an iconic hero pass away before they should, when it's too soon for that person to pass away. Just as in real life, Chadwick passed away in a too soon fashion. Like, that man had a huge career still ahead of him. So because they want to make it relatable, it makes sense that they would decide, for the time being, we're going to let the character pass on, and we're going to pass the mantle on to somebody else. Someone else is going to take up the Black Panther mantle. If you buy Legos, you know who it is. I'm not talking about the person in the chat. I'm talking about the toy. We talked about it last week. But
that one's gonna be hard because it is going to be revealed more and more in marketing material. I'm seeing more and more marketing material that's kind of like a really good like giveaway as to who it is.
Yeah. Again, we talked about that last week too. But the thing is that there's no reason to not expect that they could, when the time is right and when the time feels right, they could essentially recast T'Challa by bringing in a Black Panther from an alternate multiverse. They have that ability to do that. I think they could do that at some point. I respect their choice though to not do it yet. So that's the reasoning. That's the reason they gave, which is it's too early and we want this to reflect reality and the hard truths of reality around us to make it more relatable.
For comparison, this a part of this also sounds like kind of like Linkin Park's answers in regards to replacing Chester Bennington as like one of their two lead singers.
We might do it at some point, but we're not ready to do it yet.
Yeah, and I mean it's been a while. That was since 2017. So they're still grieving over that as well. I've always read like a interview with Mike Shinoda saying like, well, why don't y'all do like the Tupac hologram thing? And he's like, no, we can't fuck with that. I can't fathom doing that. So yeah.
I could see them, doing a multiversal Black Panther, another universe's T'Challa, played by somebody else, obviously, coming in, post Phase 6. Yeah. Let's talk Phase 7 at the earliest for another T'Challa to come in. So.
Well, we know you're just trying to do your job, Lego.
No, that's Funko. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Funko Lego. Anyways, and then real quick, while we're still talking about the Black Panther, it was also announced, I guess, by the actor that Namor is officially a mutant. Yes. With the exception of the fact that we've gotten the hint of Miss Marvel being called or referred to as a mutant. They just basically said that she had a mutation in her, but not necessarily refer to her as a mutant. Yeah. This would make like the first official mutant that has been announced for the MCU.
Not official, official.
Yeah. Okay. So, we'll see where this goes from here. because it's going to open. I don't know if what's going to happen in Black Panther Wakanda Forever will further open the doors for mutants to be a part of the MCU. Probably. Just because Namor, in the comics, Namor was a mutant also, but it was kind of like, it's kind of kept aside from all the other mutant characters. I know like Professor X at one point reached out to him about like, come here, we have a haven for you. And he's like, no, I've got people to lead. So,
yeah. More on mutants here in a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. So next one is Fantastic Fest. Apparently still going on. I will be getting tickets to Fantastic Fest next year. I am pissed that I am missing out on it this year with everything that they're doing. I would have loved to have gone to the premiere of Smile and Terrifier 2. And then apparently the other night, Fantastic Fest, they usually do 2 secret screenings. The first secret screening was the premiere of Werewolf by Night. Would have loved to have gone to that too, so I could give you some thoughts, feelings, and opinions on that, but nope. I'm not going to be able to do that because I didn't see it, so I got to wait for it to drop on Disney Plus like everyone else.
But a lot of people did see it, and the thing is, right now, really good positive word of mouth on that thing.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting considering that it's Michael Giacchino's directorial debut. Has he directed stuff before?
If he did, he's done like maybe something shorter. But yeah, this is like the first like full. The thing is it's only like 50 something minutes long, including credits. It's like 52, 53 minutes long.
So like a 1 hour special essentially.
Yeah, so it's not long enough to be a feature length movie, but it's longer than a regular TV show.
Unless the TV show is Stranger Things and then their episodes are a feature length movie.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I know it gets confusing, but just it's a Halloween special. It's its own thing.
It's its own thing, and the skeletons are
part of it.
Part of it. Anyways. So I mentioned Sean Chandler at the beginning of this show. He went to go see it at Fantastic Fest. He gave his thoughts. I'm not going to like take away all of his thoughts because he created a video for a reason. Go watch his video if you want to know his thoughts. But one of the things he was saying is that like this could have easily been longer. They could have stretched this out and added like another good like 20 minutes to it.
Just make it like a movie that's on a Disney Plus drop.
Mm-hmm. And that he was saying that like absolutely like would enjoy it if it was longer as well. He's like he enjoyed it for the most part. He said that he very much enjoyed it as it was, and that's what I've been hearing from a lot of other people saying too, that it was very much enjoyable. I've heard other people also talking about the runtime could have been lengthened a little bit more. For some reason, they just wanted to stay away from like the full feature length of it, but
classifications. I don't think you have to get like an MPAA rating on a special, so it's probably just avoiding some legal hoops and stuff that they would have to do if they made it a movie.
Yeah. So eager for it. It's got some good word of mouth so far. Everyone also seems to be saying that this, one of the benefits of this is it is like confined in its own little story. It doesn't seem to have any real implications of reaching out to anywhere else in the MCU. It does take place in the MCU, but it's not something, it doesn't seem like they're planting something in this that's going to pop up in another MCU movie later on down the line.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a self-contained, it exists within the universe, but doesn't really have to reflect any other part of it or have any part of it being reflected later on.
Yeah. Although, especially because I don't know what else could happen in this movie that could have an effect later on. I mean, we know Werewolf by Night is in this. We know Man-Thing is in this from the trailer. But that's roughly about it, unless they somehow tie Man-Thing back into Howard the Duck, which we joked about before. I don't know what else there could possibly be that would have another reach. The only thing that I could think of this maybe having an interaction with the MCU in the future would be a connection to Blade, because Blade kind of plays around in that area as well. The spooky, creepy, horror type elements of
Blade, and then depending on what they do with Agatha's show.
Yeah. Yeah, Agatha. Yeah, that could actually tie in. So that would be interesting if they do that. But speaking of Blade, let's talk about Blade.
Blade.
Uh,
Look
so-
about the Blade.
Can y'all mention the title of the thing you're talking about 30 times for people like me with ADHD who miss every 8th word?
Absolutely
Werewolf-
not. If you hit
Werewolf by Night?
if you hit the arrow key on your keyboard that goes to the left, you can backspace, you can backtrack on the video and catch it, and then you can hit live to catch back up.
So let's talk about Blade. It was announced that Bassam Tariq, who was the director of Blade, has exited directing Blade. This movie starts shooting in November, as far as I know. So they are going to need to get another director, and they need to get a director fast.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Yeah. I don't think that's been like officially said why he dropped out.
God dang it.
They haven't officially said why he dropped out. I know that there was like some kind of report that like Mahershala Ali is not happy with it, that there's only like 2 fight scenes and they're just not happy with how this movie's coming together. And that doesn't sound like it's been from like any real official source, but I guess they're just trying to create like Blade to sound like the MCU's version of the Batgirl movie. It's like, well, this is going to be a disaster. Let's just tax write it off. But no. So no indication as to why he's leaving, but who would be a good replacement? I know a lot of people were talking about that as well.
And I have a few ideas on that. I've posted them on Twitter to very few people responding, but hey, you know what? Sometimes that's just how Twitter works. I do have ideas though.
Who did you have ideas of?
I have 3 ideas currently. As I've posted them on Twitter, I think the most obvious choice, if he is free, available, and wants to do it, would be Scott Derrickson. Actually, there's 4 choices. And I heard a 4th one today that I think actually works too, but I'll touch on that here in a second.
Scott Derrickson, Sam Raimi.
Not Sam Raimi. Scott Derrickson, I think, is good if you just want a nice, solid Blade movie. Cut, print, we're done, move on. You know, he can produce a pleasantly nice Blade movie, and everyone can be happy. Cool, we're good. We got Blade. I think if you want that, cool. If you want to do something a little bit more special with it, I think you go with one of these other names. Next one, positive word of mouth on Werewolf by Night. Maybe Michael Giacchino's ready for a feature-length film. Given the tone of Werewolf by Night, maybe Blade would be right up his alley.
Hey, he could also score it too. 2-for-1 deal.
2 for 1. Not a bad choice. But my number 1 pick right now is actually Rick Famuyiwa, which, if you guys don't know that name, he directed the movie Dope in 2015, which had plenty of positive reviews to it. He also has directed multiple episodes of The Mandalorian on Disney+, namely the episode The Prisoner, which featured a prison breakout scene. It's the first episode that Bill Burr was in The Mandalorian, where Mando teamed up with a group of miscreants and scallywags to go break out somebody from a Republic prison ship. If you remember that episode, you know that the tone of that episode featured a lot of like low-key horror elements to it, wherein Mando was kind of betrayed, and then once he broke out of his holding cell that he got betrayed into, shut the power off and started sneaking up on all the individual members that he traveled with. And it was fun because they did a lot of like jump scare type stuff with it. A lot of like really interesting elements were in that. And I think notating that episode specifically and knowing that Rick is somebody who I think should have the ability to play in the Marvel universe a little bit more, or actually at all. He hasn't been in the Marvel universe at all yet, but be able to play around with these like big scale projects. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have him come in and direct Blade. I think Marvel has a history right now. We're starting to have a pattern of hiring directors that aren't necessarily as well known as like they did before. You know, they had Jon Favreau, Kenneth Branagh, Captain America, Dead Rocketeer. Yes, we know.
Oh yeah, Joe Johnston.
Joe Johnston. Yeah, have these well-known directors in the first
Whedon.
phase. You get you bring in James Gunn, you bring in Taika Waititi. You have these big names that are popular right now. Scott Derrickson was actually one of those names, I think, for the first Doctor Strange. So now they're bringing in directors that people haven't necessarily heard of all that much, or especially people who aren't like in the film space.
I still can't. I can't name who the directors of. I know there's two of them. Who the directors of Captain Marvel were off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I know I've heard their names.
Even the Russo brothers, prior to Winter Soldier, they were known for episodes of Community.
There's the winner right there.
Martin Scorsese, right? Exactly.
Martin Scorsese going to direct a vampire movie for Marvel because it's cinema.
Yeah, Sean's got it. Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck.
Yeah, okay. I knew if you were to give me like multiple choices, this was a multiple choice question, I would have pulled it out of the answers there, but I don't know them off the top of my head.
So, because they're eager to work with, up and coming directors that haven't been given like the big spotlight yet, directors that, are looking for opportunities, are definitely come a little bit cheaper than some other names. Jordan Peele is an idea that I don't agree with. There's multiple reasons why I don't agree with that idea. I think he could do fine if he had his heart into it and really wanted to, but I don't think he would want to.
Jordan Peele right now is showing that he is more into his own passion projects. He doesn't mind supporting projects of a popular IP like
Producing
Blade or, for example, Candyman. He was a executive producer. I think at one point he was looking at maybe directing the Candyman remake, but he decided against it, took on like executive producer and passed it off to Nia DaCosta to direct. Which Nia DaCosta, I don't know, might be a good director as well. Depending on how much more work she's got left on the Marvels.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think doing like the big budget studio projects like this, the things that aren't original stories, is something that Jordan Peele has a passion or a heart for. He's a great filmmaker, though. If he decided that he wanted to, and that's something that he was like all on board with, I think he could do a great Blade if he wanted to. I just don't think he wants to. That being said, like Rick Famuyiwa, that's kind of my number one pick. The other one that I heard today was the two guys that did Miss Marvel, who attempted to do a Batgirl movie.
Well, speaking of, we want to make this the MCU's Batgirl.
I could see Marvel Studios giving them kind of a redemption arc, so to speak, off of the back of Batgirl getting canned. And that would kind of be a giant middle finger also to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
From Disney. And that would be kind of funny. Not that any of us lowly people have any kind of stake in big corporations throwing middle fingers at each other, but still, when we're talking about these guys, we're talking about like an underdog situation where their movie was canned by a big studio. Their opportunity to do something big and awesome for a big studio was canned. So another studio swoops in and goes, how about we give you this? We've already worked with you on Miss Marvel. You did a fantastic job with that series. They did. I loved their episodes that they directed of that. I think they could also probably do a pretty good Blade movie. So
I did want to select William Harold's comment up here. Wesley Snipes would be a great director. Yeah, he was a fantastic director in My Name is Dolomite.
Dolomite is my name.
I think he knows a little something about the Blade character as well. Now, I don't think Wesley Snipes is actually a director. He was playing a director in that movie, but
is it My Name is Dolomite or Dolomite is My Name?
Yeah, whatever, that one. It'd be a nice slapback from when they canned James Gunn and DC hired him. Yeah, it's like it sounds like like the fast food restaurants on Twitter that are like constantly throwing shade at one another. It would be like that. That's what that's turning into.
Yeah. Don't think Kevin Feige is scared to go full R. For the MCU proper, they're never going to go full R. They're going to keep the MCU PG-13 because that maximizes the box office intake and the reach that those movies have. DC did that with, a few of their movies. They went R and proved that, as far as like the Suicide Squad goes, that your movie can be rated R and still have a pretty decent reach.
Birds of Prey
as well. But I think the MCU has a tone that it's trying to stick with, and that is, while not completely family friendly, obviously, in Thor: Love and Thunder, they talk about orgies and show Thor's naked ass. So, I don't know if you qualify that as family friendly or not.
Orgies in Ragnarok also.
Yeah, in Ragnarok too. Taika Waititi loves his orgies apparently.
I mean, who doesn't?
You heard it here first. So, yeah, while it's not like completely family friendly, I think that they are geared more towards keeping it generally open to as wide of an audience as possible. Except for one movie that's going to be MCU canon.
Hey, let's segue to our main topic for tonight. It was announced yesterday that you probably, unless you're living under a rock or dead or in another multiversal dimension, that Hugh Jackman's coming back to play Wolverine in Deadpool 3.
Snicked.
Why the Deadpool and Wolverine are here. So, yeah. Chris Hemsworth's ass is family. Way to interrupt the great. It was worth it. Yes, Deadpool 3 is confirmed to be R, but it's loosely connected to the MCU. With this casting, with the announcement that Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, is going to be in Deadpool 3, that kind of gives us a small hint as to where they're possibly going with this.
Yeah.
Because the second I heard that, I had one immediate thought pop up, being a comic book lover, what they could potentially do. And now I'm seeing like everyone online on Twitter has had the same idea. I saw Coy said it. Bibiani has said it. I've seen everyone referring to the storyline of Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Mm-hmm. My idea is that they're probably going to bring back at least some of the cast from the Fox X-Men movies. More likely the first class cast, not necessarily like the older cast, like James Marsden, Halle Berry. Probably not them. But they'll bring back like some of the younger ones and just have Deadpool quickly kill them off like within like a couple of minutes. So it'll be like a real quick cameo, a little bit longer than the cameo that they had in Deadpool 2.
So jumping right to the case, it's you're talking about a storyline where it's Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, except instead of the MCU, it is the entire Fox universe. Yeah,
the Fox X-Men universe. And then he's going to, because of the multiverse stuff that the MCU is already setting up, he's going to somehow come over to the MCU and he'll just have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine tagging along. I almost wouldn't be surprised in this point, or for this storyline specifically, if Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is the villain of the movie. I mean, essentially, Deadpool's the villain and Wolverine's the hero trying to stop the villain. But I mean,
antagonist, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of like Iron Man in Civil War, he was essentially a villain for that movie outside of Zemo. But yeah, I'm willing to bet that's what they're going to do with this movie. So that should be fun.
Yeah, it's first of all, the news story is kind of hype in general because we've been wanting Hugh Jackman to play around with the new iteration of Deadpool since the first one in Origins was.
Why did they sew his mouth shut?
Because they thought it was funny for the character. It was subverting expectations or something. I want a road trip movie, maybe. Multiversal road trip. Which, that could be the real multiverse of madness right there. I'm going to be watching what happens with this movie with great interest because they could do a million different things with this movie. And now that they've announced that Hugh Jackman's coming in as Wolverine.
Could you imagine if he goes and he's killing like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
No, hold on.
Wesley Snipes' Blade. Like,
Well, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are Sony, not Fox.
He would pop into a room. They wouldn't be in a Spider-Man outfit. It would just be Tobey Maguire sitting at his desk. No reference that he's actually Peter Parker. We would just know.
No, they would have to go back and do like all the characters that Fox had at one point and were using. So like maybe Nick Cage shows up as Ghost Rider, or you would have
Was that Fox?
I think it was.
Well, you could do Ben Affleck's Daredevil was Fox.
Yeah. Or you have him go in and get rid of the Tim Story Fantastic Four cast.
That would be fun.
Which is hilarious because that means you bring Chris Evans back as Human Torch.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Oh, that would be awesome.
And
how come you look like Captain America?
Yeah. What was the other thing I was thinking? Oh, if he's doing like multiversal versions of like Fantastic Four, he could pop into a universe where you still have John Krasinski's Reed Richards and just have Deadpool come up and like take the blade out, and John Krasinski's Reed Richards could be like, oh, damn it, not again.
That would be funny.
That'd be absolutely hilarious. I mean, there's a million different things that they could do with that story. It's got to be they're gonna be doing a multiverse type storyline with it. That's the only explanation. Because Hugh Jackman is playing Wolverine one more time.
Yeah,
assuming that they don't bring him back for some reason for like Secret War or
so
whatever.
he has been on record saying that he would love to come back as Wolverine in the MCU. If the MCU chose to use Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, he would come back for that. Problem with that,
he's getting old.
Wolverine doesn't get old, essentially, except for Logan. But otherwise, he doesn't get old. So I don't think that's going to work anymore.
They're going to recast Wolverine. They're going to bring in someone new as Wolverine, someone that they can lean on to be Wolverine for the next decade, at least.
Oh, Deadpool murders the Fan 4-stick cast. That would be so good.
Yeah. So they're going to bring in someone new as Wolverine. So there's no shot that Hugh Jackman's going to be playing Wolverine as the steady Wolverine for the MCU. So this is going to be like the last hurrah. This is how Wolverine goes out. He's going to go out in the Deadpool 3 movie, which is hilarious. But this is causing a big issue for some people in the Twitter sphere. Just like almost anything and everything under the sun causes a big issue for some group of people on Twitter, because Twitter's a cesspool. Never mind. There's an issue on Twitter though with this, in that
this just said iceberg lettuce is no longer available. Feel free to discuss this on Twitter.
Actually, everyone on Twitter is happy about that. That's trash lettuce.
You'll find someone. What am I going to eat?
Different lettuce. So the issue that this is causing is that people are discussing about how this tarnishes the legacy of Logan, ruins or diminishes the impact that his character had going out in that movie and the poignancy of it. And we were talking about this in that you and I were talking about this in that we were talking about how that movie still exists. That movie can still exist if you don't want to acknowledge, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in Deadpool 3. You don't have to. It's probably going to be a one-off situation, and it's probably not going to come back. He's probably not going to come back after this. He might in Secret Wars, but he's probably not going to come back after this. So given that, you're free to ignore Deadpool 3 if you're really holding dear to Logan. You're also, if you're like me,
that was my tweet. You just don't have to watch it. I mean,
yeah.
If you're like me,
I don't care. I personally don't care for Logan all that much. Gasp. Oh no. I'm not a huge fan of Logan. It was not. It didn't hit me and impact me the way it did for a lot of other people. I understand how it impacted other people or why it impacted other people. I just wasn't that huge of a fan of that particular movie. So for me, this is awesome. I love this idea. I'm all on board, and it's only going to improve my opinion and whatever of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and everything. To have him go out this way is a fun thing in my mind. I'm all on board. It doesn't diminish Logan for me because you can't diminish Logan for me.
And the comparison that I made while we were talking about this is, y'all know that both my brother and I are fans of the TV show Scrubs. If you're not familiar with this, if you haven't watched Scrubs, so real quick, Scrubs ran for 8 seasons on NBC. I think they did change the 8th season. I think the 8th season did go to ABC, but whatever, that beside the point. And they weren't planning to renew for a 9th season, so they went ahead and they did the finale of season 8 as if it was a series finale. One of easily the best series finales of a long-running TV show sitcom on TV. They ended it perfectly. It was perfect. Just, I loved it. I will still watch it and cry every time.
Perfect finale.
Then they decided to do a season 9 where they took like a lot of the major Scrubs characters out of the hospital they worked at and put them like in a medical teaching school. Wasn't that good. It still had like a little bit of the humor. It was still a little fun, but it just didn't have that same feel as the previous 8 seasons. As someone who likes her, I know Scrubs fans like swear off season 9. If you ask a Scrubs fan, like, hey, what's your thoughts on season 9? They're going to be like, what season 9? There is no season 9. Yeah. And I've made that joke myself before. Here's a little inside information. I have watched season 9 multiple times. It's still Scrubs. It's just not as good as the previous seasons, but it's still Scrubs.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, okay, shut up. Because there is a season 9, though, it doesn't diminish how much I love the finale of season 8. Again, I still tear up and cry because it is the perfect finale. Yeah. It is still the perfect finale. There is a season 9. It's not as good, but
you don't have to watch it. You just don't have to watch it. You can, if you want to do a watch through of Scrubs, you're welcome to season 1 through season 8. Boom. I did my watch through of Scrubs. I don't have to acknowledge season 9. It's more like a spinoff anyway.
But the point of that is no matter how much people complain, you, human being, are capable of still holding the death of Wolverine and Logan in higher regard and still able to watch him in Deadpool 3. Stop complaining. You'll be okay. It is possible.
There is also multiple explanations that if you're worried about like canon stuff, I know a lot of people out there are talking about the intrinsic value that Logan holds for them, and that's it. I understand that. Like if you feel like this is going to tarnish your view of it personally, I feel for you. I do. I understand your opinion. I get it, and I think you are valid to feel that way. Because that's how you hold it personally. However, there are, if you're talking about canon, multiple reasons why this actually still works. Because a lot of people were talking about like, wait, didn't he die in Logan? I don't understand. Well, as we got today, there was a little video that Ryan and Hugh put out, which is hilarious because nobody expected this, but 2, nobody expected them to put out a video the next day going, okay. We know. A lot of y'all are probably questioning this. Like they had forethought.
They knew because they already had it filmed and ready to go.
They had the forethought to know that the internet was going to be like, wait, didn't Wolverine die in Logan? And they're like, yes. Couple things. One,
is that on Ryan Reynolds or is that the PR people or who was smart enough to get ahead of that?
I think Ryan Reynolds is smart enough to get ahead of that at this point.
Yeah, I do too.
The dude knows marketing. That might be the one thing he's better at than acting. Honestly, is marketing.
Well, look at everything he does with like Mint Mobile and Aviation Gin.
Yeah. But they came out saying that the events of Logan happen in like 2029. So this Wolverine can still exist here. That Wolverine's, it's still going to happen. That whole thing still happens, but Wolverine's still going to do this. And like we said, there's still multiple ways they can do this. It's a different Wolverine. It's a different Wolverine from the original timeline that we were used to him from. Multiverse, there's multiple Hugh Jackman casted Wolverines amongst the multiverse. This is the Wolverine that we know. He's just doing a side adventure real quick before he goes back to that timeline that proceeds to Logan.
And then they proceeded to explain this, and then inadvertently caused everyone in the world to have "Wake Me Up Before You Go" stuck in their head all damn day today.
Which is not the worst thing in the world necessarily, but
come on, a jitterbug. Yeah, when they started playing the "Come on, a jitterbug," I was like, "What are you doing?" And then they did the whole miming, like it was like perfect. I'm even drooling. Yeah. I'm so happy about it.
I think they said enough though in that video to give us an indication of what we can kind of expect from Wolverine's appearance here.
Yeah.
I just love that Twitter just doesn't, like, people on Twitter just don't accept anything ever at all, no matter how well thought out and logical they are, and that people are still complaining about this from like a canon standpoint. And they're like, just chill out, relax.
Nice connection here, though. The soundtrack in the Deadpool movies are great. Yeah, especially so if you think back, the first Deadpool movie did have ample use of the song Careless Whisper, also from Wham. So Deadpool definitely, or at least Ryan Reynolds, definitely has a thing for Wham, which, I mean, at this point, who doesn't?
All right, George Michael. Yeah.
You got to have faith is what I'm saying. So,
well, I guess it would be nice. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, I think that might be a joke in the movie too. I think Deadpool referenced Logan's death in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
There's a lot of interesting things that Deadpool 3 is gonna play around with, because they've had Josh Brolin as Cable, which I imagine he's gonna come back for Deadpool 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine he would. And
Deadpool already referred to him as Thanos.
Thanos, yeah. Like, that's gonna be the whole. I am intrigued by the tongue-in-cheek quality that Deadpool 3 is going to have now that it is going to be technically MCU canon or MCU adjacent canon.
I want to see, kind of like what we were just saying, I want to see him go through and kill off like some of the other Marvel Fox characters. Specifically, I want to see some kind of reference to Chris Evans as Human Torch. Which they can do that, because we know Ryan Reynolds and Chris Evans have a really good relationship.
Well,
hence
also,
Chris Evans popping up in Free Guy.
Also, Free Guy was directed by Sean Levy, who's directing.
Who's also
Deadpool
directing.
3.
Oh, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
If they do anything Fantastic Four from the original movies, you absolutely 100% know that Chris Evans will show up as Human Torch, because they've joked about this ever since he was casted as Captain America. They've been joking about this, like, what if in some capacity you could have like Captain America and Human Torch meet, and they're both Chris Evans, and what do you do with that? They're not going to have those characters meet, but they could bring the Chris Evans Human Torch into the MCU in this way, and it'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
But this is also, like, again, I love the fact that Hugh Jackman's going to be in this from a specific standpoint, wherein this is him essentially passing the reins of Wolverine off to whoever is essentially going to be playing Wolverine in the MCU proper. Mm-hmm. So I could see them doing this with, like, bringing in Fantastic Four characters, because this movie is slated for 2024 right now. Is this before or after Fantastic Four?
September of 2024.
So
after.
I can't remember when the Fantastic Four movie is currently scheduled to come out, if they've even given us a release date.
May of 2024. So I believe this will come out after.
So we could get kind of like a Reigns passing off situation with, some of the past Fantastic Four casts, namely the ones from the two Tim Story movies. In which case, we could see a Chris Evans kind of coming in as Human Torch again and passing those reins off to whoever the new Human Torch is.
The only thing is, I don't know, unless they go all CGI, I don't know if we're going to get Michael Chiklis's thing back, because his thing was in a costume, was a entire prosthetic costume. They would have to go CGI.
And it would be too much for him to have to come back in and sit through that whole makeup prosthetic process one more time just for a cameo appearance.
But yeah, I'm also expecting this to be a shot where, like, we see the Fantastic Four after saving the world again, relaxing in the living room at the Baxter Building, watching TV, and a portal opens up and Deadpool pops in, says hi, like, "Hey, Captain America," and then kills everyone. So they are literally on screen for like 2 minutes. So it might be possible.
Or he comes in holding like orange rocks and be like, "Oh, got one of y'all already. I'm gonna get the other 3 taken care of."
Yeah. Or like even reference that, like, well, I got the one that we couldn't afford to actually put back in the prosthetic suit or CGI, so he's out of here.
Sorry, Michael Chiklis. Anyway.
Yeah. Do something like that would be fantastic. But
yeah.
Nicely worded there, Wingblade.
I'll need to see his thing on screen. Do you though?
Yeah, I believe they could bring back Cable, Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and probably Domino
Vanessa.
also.
And Vanessa.
And Vanessa, yeah. So, let me see. Oh, Fantastic Four is November of 2024. Okay.
So this could be, so Fantastic Four could be right after this. So it would make sense then for them to do kind of a Killing the Fox universe storyline in which they take out the Fantastic Four.
So Malcolm's asking, do you think they'll use Deadpool 3 to introduce the new Wolverine? I don't think so. Because the MCU is going to want to do that. That's going to be like a ceremony type of reveal when they add Wolverine to the MCU proper. I don't think they're going to do it in a Deadpool movie.
Deadpool 3 is, I'm going to go ahead and be on record right now with, mostly because I feel like I've heard Kevin Feige kind of slightly make reference to this. Deadpool 3 is not going to be 100% like must see MCU. This is in the MCU. This is one of the MCU movies you got to see to continue watching the MCU. This is going to be like MCU
adjacent.
Deadpool 3 is like right here. It's touching the MCU. It's involved with the MCU, but it's its own thing, and it's unlikely that movie is going to have any real impact on anything else within the MCU, other than maybe they bring Ryan Reynolds in as Deadpool for other future projects, but they're going to have to tame him down a little bit because it's going to be Deadpool in PG-13 environments.
Yeah. You said it's going to be its own thing.
Yep.
And the skeletons are going to be
a part of it. Yeah.
Part of it. Yeah. Okay.
The theme tonight is David S. Pumpkins. Who knew? We did not plan this.
No.
Or did we? We did not. But yeah, it's not gonna. I don't think they're going to introduce any kind of anything within Deadpool 3 that's going to have any kind of like real major impact on the MCU. I just think it's going to be a fun little side adventure.
It's going to be like Werewolf by Night. It takes place in the MCU. It'll have some kind of allusions to being a part of the MCU, but it's not going to have any long lasting effects on the MCU as far as we know.
It will heavily reference the MCU. It will play around in and with the MCU, but it will not be anything that we need to worry about in the future.
It's always the theme. You just weren't aware of it. That's true. That happens. I mean, at the same time, we've made this comment before that it could be possible that we do see Deadpool does later on join more of the main MCU, primarily maybe a connection to the X-Men movies, in which case he may make jokes where like he's cussing and he gets bleeped and he's like, what was that sound?
I can't say F word anymore.
He'll go to shoot someone and there won't be like any gory like bullet holes through the arm or chest, no blood all over the place. Like, the hell's the blood? You shoot someone and blood's supposed to shoot out.
What'll happen is he'll end up shooting it and he'll look at the camera and be like, "You didn't want to catch the action? You're just gonna stay on me?" Yeah.
He'll cut off someone's arm and the camera will just like kind of like in the first Deadpool movie where he's going after the what's his face? Agent Smith looking dude. He's going to kill someone and the camera just turns away. He's like, "No, everything cool is happening over here. What is this, a PG-13 movie?" He'll do something like that.
God, you do one thing for the House of Mouse and they take away all your
all of that would be hilarious. I mean, I think it's a joke that you could play maybe like just a couple of times before it gets old, but that's not a joke I think you could sustain throughout a whole movie, like say 2 screaming goats throughout the entirety of an MCU movie. Oh my God.
But this is why I always thought David Pumpkins.
David S. Pumpkins.
This is why I always thought Deadpool could still work within the PG-13 setting, is because he would make fun of the fact that he's in the PG-13 setting.
Yeah, that would be fun. Anyways, I think that's about it. I don't know if there's really anything else to talk about in regards to that.
Hype. It's gonna be cool.
I mean, you got me hyped with the idea that he could go killing like the rest. I wasn't thinking anything beyond just the Fox X-Men. I never stopped to think that he could go kill the Fox Fantastic Four, Daredevil, Elektra,
everything that Fox had before. Yeah,
that would be. And yeah, I do think even though like he doesn't necessarily need to kill just the Fox universe, he could go over and kill like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and stuff. Again, they're not alluding to it being Sony, but that would be kind of funny as well. Or alluding to them being Spider-Man.
I don't see him touching like the Sony stuff. We may make like passing reference and jokes and stuff to like Morbius and all that, but I don't see them touching Sony stuff just because they want to keep that agreement with Sony right now friendly with those characters. But yeah, it's gonna be funny. Real quick, I love the video that they had talking about that Ryan and Hugh did. Hey Hugh, you want to play Wolverine again?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, Ryan. Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah,
like, and then like Hugh Jackman tweeted it later. Yeah, sure, why not? I was like, I love it, just nonchalant. Yeah, I guess so. I'll do it one more time. Whatever.
Yeah. Anyways, so that is going to do it for the tagline tonight. Again, catching up, the next thing to keep in mind to look forward to coming up will be October 7th. We will be doing the marquee Tears for Fears, and we will be tier ranking all the Child's Play movies. That's Friday, October 7th at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. We will be doing 3 marquees throughout the month of October, all 3 of them horror movie related. We'll be announcing guests on the next tagline for the Child's Play, and we'll probably talk about what the other ones, the other marquees are going to be. If you are part of our Patreon, you can see what the other marquees are going to be on our Discord. You can also see the list of movies for at least, obviously, Child's Play, because it's all the Child's Play movies. And you can see the list for the second marquee. It's also up on the Discord. So if you would like to watch these movies to weigh in with your opinions in the chat, feel free. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you would like to support us and you have the means, hop on there, see that list, watch those movies, and join us live in the chat for the marquee on those. Seems like a good time to me. So anyways, make sure you follow us here by clicking subscribe. Also hit that like button and comment below. If you watched my live stream last night, you know why that's important. Hopefully you understand if you didn't know and you watched me last night. So please do all those YouTube things. Make sure you follow us on social media at Cinefanatics MLP on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and by clicking the link down below in the description for my own YouTube channel. Come over, I'll play games possibly or talk about random stuff. It's fun. That was a good conversation that I had with the chat last night. So please come back, watch some more. I don't know what I'm going to do it live again, probably sometime in the next week, but we'll see. I have more ideas of stuff I want to do with that channel. It's going to be a lot more fun, a lot more audience engagement. So come back and check that out. As far as Chris,
you can find me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram. As soon as I start talking, okay.
And the doctor's office.
Yeah. Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP, where I'm playing games, having fun. We're doing a lot of Pokemon and Fortnite right now. It seems to be the general theme of just the things that I honestly just want to play. It's honestly what I do on my channel. But we do a lot of other fun stuff on there. We do Jackbox games every Sunday, so you want to come hang out with us this Sunday. If you literally, again, if you have not come and hung out with the community on Twitch over on Sundays, you definitely want to come and play some Jackbox games with us. This is your personal invite from me. Come play some Jackbox games with us on Sundays. It's a lot of fun.
If you need like a good cry laughing, it usually will always happen while playing Jackbox on Sundays.
If you are scared of Twitch and you don't know how it works, it's not that different from YouTube. Honestly, just come. You're watching a live video and you're chatting in a chat. It's real easy.
Just like right now. So should be a lot of fun. Anyways, That's going to do it for tonight. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. So we will see y'all later. Good night, everyone. Where's the video?
Bye.
Awkward City.